is your current kind of role just helping guys reconcile with the end of their career the way you kind of had to go through it yourself? Like, are you trying to give them a better path toward that?
I would say that's part of it. That's part of it, but I wouldn't limit it to just that, the end of your NFL experience. And we say experience because careers are usually last a lot longer than the NFL tenure. So through my NFL experience, I dealt with certain things that a lot of players deal with through certain obstacles that you gotta get through. And I wouldn't just say that it's limited to afterwards, it's during. It's preparing for life after football. It's making the most out of the opportunity that you're awarded to be able to play the game at a high level. But it's taking advantage of those opportunities. Starting my career in New Orleans, I didn't understand how great it was or how great of a position I was in to make a lasting impact until I got there and served there for a year or two. And then I started to find my own in terms of the community. But so many players find different things or are assisted by player engagement. Guys like Fred McAfee that help them out throughout. He's the DPE there. He's one of the guys that assist in their development. And it's a long-lasting impact that goes on throughout the player life cycle and beyond.
Hey, Usama, can you talk about your Believe in You Foundation and what inspired you to start it?
Yeah, I can. Believe in You. It actually was something that I started being in New Orleans. I was led to just start while playing. You know, it was 2007 when I arrived as a draft pick, and I saw everyone doing so much work in the community, from building homes, from volunteering, talking to students at different schools, at charter schools, wherever it was, we were doing work as a team. And I said, you know what? I'm doing so much in New Orleans. I'm doing so much in my hometown. I like to put a name on it, and we can get something going that's more formal. And in 2009, we started the Usama Young Youth Foundation, which was cool. But after every talk that I was having with youth, after every talk that I was having with these younger adults, we kept on telling them we believe in you. We would take them on college tours and say, hey, you might go to school, you might be a professional, we believe in you. If your goal is this and that, we believe in you. And I said, man, it's a nice little play with words. Believe in you, everybody calls me you. But at the same time, we're telling the youth that we believe in them. And we just we renamed it. We focus more on empowering our youth through education, volunteerism, and civic engagement. And Believe in You has gone on to not only support communities in the areas that I played, but other communities throughout the nation.
Hey, this is Rod Walker with the Times-Picayune Advocate. What's the one piece of advice you give a rookie just coming into the league right now?
Oh, well, one thing is they're going through something that none of us have been through. This pandemic has changed our society. It's changed the way we do things. I don't think anyone on this phone envisioned themselves holding interviews like this during, July now, and leading into training camp and not being too sure about what's to come. With the level of uncertainty at its highest, I always say, just be prepared. Be prepared. And when I say be prepared, that was something that Dennis Allen told me years ago. Hey, look, be prepared. It's better to be prepared and not get the opportunity than to get the opportunity and not be prepared. And when I say that, it's pretty broad. It could be seen as vague, but staying in shape is something that's easy. Even if you can't do group workouts right now, even if you are limited to the gym, getting your wind up, being able to run for miles would be my advice to them. But also understanding that you got to get in this playbook and take as many mental reps as possible. But so be prepared, be in shape, get as many mental reps as possible, and when you get on that football field, it's going to go fast. It's going to go fast. So just be ready.
Usama, speaking of going fast, do you kind of maybe, or could you put in perspective, it hasn't gone all that fast for Drew and Sean, and you mentioned Dennis Allen, the fact that you got drafted here 13 years ago and some of those guys are still here. Do you find that just to be remarkable, and does that maybe strengthen your connection to this organization because the people that drafted you are still here, and even, at least a couple of the players are still around at some point?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an amazing organization. I mean, New Orleans Saints, when I first got here, I had no clue. When I first got to New Orleans, I had no clue what type of tradition there was, what type of men Sean Payton was, or Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis, Tom Benson. And to be able to spend the first part of my years in New Orleans, it was something that I didn't know how long it would last, but I was going to cherish it every day that I was there. Now, you talk about those guys 13 years later that are still there, and it's a tribute to what they built and what they put together. And you got the utmost respect for them because you see guys that you played alongside that are now in the building, that might be coaching, that might be doing other things in media, from Zach Street to Lee Torrance or Aaron Glenn. And then also having the coaches that were there while you were there and trainers that were there while you were there. And even some of the media, I'm seeing names pop up and I'm like, wow, I remember doing an interview with them. It's special. And I think it's unique because if you look around the league, it's not too many organizations that are like that. And that's a tribute to why you all have been so successful in New Orleans. And I think that chemistry, it holds tremendous weight. And it's part of one of the main reasons that you all have been successful.
Usama, one of those old grizzled journalism veterans from back in your day here, Larry Holder. Can you just bring me back to when the Saints played the Patriots in 2009? I know you guys tried to downplay that game. How important was that game, and how surprised were you when Tom Brady basically waved the white flag and came out like midway through the fourth quarter? I don't know if we've ever seen that before or even after that.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, we downplay games, and I think you all know it. Being that you're long tenured media representatives, you know that guys aren't. Well, very very rarely are guys going to say this is the biggest game of the year. Or this is that. No, we're going to downplay it, and we're going to go out and play as fast as possible. We're going to do what we prepared to do throughout the week, and nothing's going to change in terms of our mindset. But I think going into that game, which was unique for me, it's like, yo, we got two of the best matched up here. And as a defense, we had been playing all out throughout the year, but we never really got too much acclaim, and we didn't play for the acclaim. But I still remember I call him a mentor now, but Mike McKenzie coming back and making plays that game that I was like, yo, this dude just found the fountain of youth. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see and amazing to look back as you're bringing back memories, bringing up that one. It's like it's one of those ones that you'll never forget. And you never see that team quit. It's always until it's 0 on the clock. But when you saw that, you knew you handed it to them.
How gratifying was it to see Tom Brady benched? I mean, it was over. They gave up like midway through the fourth quarter. How gratifying was that for a defense, for you guys to be able to do that?
You're familiar with our defense. we loved it. We looked at that film and we celebrated. We celebrated every win. But that one was unique because, like you said, it's Brady.
Hey, Usama, getting back to your post playing career with the working with player engagement. When you're talking to guys who are transitioning from their NFL experience to what comes next, what's kind of the key for you? What do you try to get across to them?
So I think this is where it's tough for some coaches or even front office staff to to really accept. But the one thing that I really want to have guys take in is that you've got to start thinking about life after football while you're playing. And I'm not saying to put your business plans or your goals outside of the game before you put your playbook or before you put, being in shape. I'm thinking if you start to think about that transition and understand that it's going to be a reality while you're playing, you can line up so many different steps to achieving that goal. Now, you think about it like this, where a guy like myself, I started playing football at a young age. I prepared for success on the field since 7 years old, and I had that success until I was 29 years old. So that's 22 years of commitment to football. And if I only did football, I'm gonna set myself up for failure later on. So start to think about it at the earlier stages of your NFL experience, and then you'll start to line up different things that you'll be able to get into even while you're playing, and if not, after you've walked away from the game.
Usama, if I could ask you, you referenced Dennis Allen earlier. You were with him here in New Orleans, and then you also were with him in Oakland. He's done a great job with the defense here. Do you think sometimes it's almost unfair? He's interviewed for head coaching jobs, and sometimes people bring up the Oakland and the record and things like that. Just your thoughts on him getting another chance eventually to potentially be a head coach and how you think he would do, since you've had a few stints with him.
Initially, I go back in my head to my rookie year, and I see Dennis Allen, DA, as an assistant D-line coach. And then the next year he goes and he's an assistant in the DB room. And you see his understanding of the game. You see the knowledge. You see the passion. You see the leadership that he possesses, leadership traits that he possessed. And you see him grow into being not just the DB coach, but go on and have success as a defensive coordinator in Denver. And while he was in Denver, I was in Cleveland. I kept in touch, and eventually seeing him in Oakland as a head coach, and we didn't have success. One thing that I've always owned as a player is, if we don't have success, it's on us not executing. The coaches put a great game plan together, and I'll never question the game plans. I've never questioned his coaching ability, because he's on point. Dennis Allen is on point with it, and when it comes to being a head coach, I'll never say, oh, because he had a bad record in Oakland, we didn't perform, we didn't execute. I still remember after some losses, I'm like, Coach, man, my bad. I let you down. And I don't know if the other 50, 60 guys were saying the same thing, but I've always been that guy. Hey, we've got to execute. We've got to prepare. We've got to put it out there. And on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, Saturdays, whatever day we play, we've got to win the games. I wouldn't hold that Oakland record or what the lack of success that we had there in terms of his future candidacy as a coach.
We've seen some of the colorful stuff Sean Payton's done, and there's some stories, bringing money into the locker room and that. You got a favorite Sean Payton story from your time in New Orleans?
Oh man, you know what? My story might switch up a little bit. It's more so him coaching me up as a young player in the league. I was fortunate to go to London twice during my NFL years, and the first time was when we played San Diego in 2008. And I wanted to host a trip. I wanted all the guys there, my boys, to go to Amsterdam and take the train to different places in London. And through this, I wasn't going to ask for permission. I was just going to do it. So I organized all the guys, and I was ready to go. And before we got on that train, I get the call from our head of security at the time. And he's like, hey, get back here. Sean wants to see you. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. I'm about to get cut in London. And I get back, and we have our talk, and he's like, dude, we're already overseas. We're in a different continent. Why are you trying to go visit? I'm like, Coach, I don't know if I'm ever going to come back to London. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to do this again. I just want to enjoy myself. And he reminded me at that time, this is a business trip. We're about our business. If we don't win this game, and he didn't say this verbatim, but I understood it, I would probably get cut. And that's Sean Payton to a T. Like, hey, this is business. We're going to handle our business. Now, after we win, we can party. But while we're here, let's handle this. So, I mean, I've got several stories, but I got to take it to when I'm glad we won out in London that week.
Usama, which offseason addition, rookie or free agent, do you think will have the biggest immediate impact this season?
You know, I'm biased, and you probably already knew the answer to this one. You got leaders throughout the team, offensive and defensive, but the one that just got brought back in, Malcolm Jenkins, I think he'll making a tremendous impact, and that impact won't just be on the field. It'll be within the walls of the Saints facility. It'll be out in the community. It'll be long lasting. And you all got a glimpse of it early on in his career in terms of the leader that he was. But on the field, he's going to make everyone around him better. And that's Malcolm Jenkins easily. That's what I think.
Hey, Usama, I have to ask you about this because I randomly stumbled upon it this morning. Your Wikipedia entry has a story about you tackling a rabid dog in like a peewee football game.
Who makes these edits, man? Who makes these edits?
That's what I want to know. I want to know, like, it says like citation needed. So I don't know, like, who's been messing around in your page, but is there any story behind that?
Somebody's comical. I tell all the youth that get their book reports or whatever homework that they're doing, if they get it off of Wikipedia, make sure they do their fact checking. Nah, it didn't happen. Now, I'm not a dog person, but if a rabid dog did come on the field, I'm going to have to take care of it. I'm going to have to get it out of there, and we're going to have to get back to playing.
Good to go. Glad we can be facts only, man. I appreciate it.
And Leo, my dog, I love you, dude. I love you, but come on. He's my wife.
If I could ask one more kind of follow-up question that's a little lighthearted like that. I remember when you got here in 2007, one of the first events they always bring the rookies to was the crawfish eating. And I recall vividly that you and some of the other rookies struggled with that. Did you ever come around to crawfish, or is it still something that's, a little bit of a foreign food to you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I spent my first 4 years in New Orleans, and it was no way I was going to remain untrue to embracing that crawfish, crab, whatever it was, I was going to be on it. So, yeah, eventually I did embrace it. My brother still lives in New Orleans. Alicia, who you all know, is still in New Orleans, and her family has restaurants. Whenever I'm going there, whenever I'm in New Orleans, I got to make sure to have some crawfish.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, Usama, one more. What is your training camp battle to watch this year on defense?
Training camp battle. Whew. That's gonna be real. I say Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas versus the defense. Mike Thomas. I mean, I say that just jokingly because when you look at him, I mean, and you all are familiar. You all see them practice way more than me. I get to see the games, and every now and then I visit. But when you look at how crafty of a route runner he is, how Drew throws every receiver open, but his catch radius is like no other. I look forward to seeing that. I look forward to just seeing guys play full speed ahead. You got so many guys on that offense that are weapons, but also so many guys on the defense that want to compete, want to lead, and overall just come out on top.
Anybody else have anything else? Good deal. Usama, thanks so much, man. We really appreciate it as always.
No doubt, man. Thank you. It's a good time, y'all. Hey, good talking to y'all. It's been a while.